Have you ever heard of a town just disappearing? Not slowly fading away, but gone overnight, wiped off every map as if it never existed. This is the story of Raven's Hollow and the terrifying secret buried beneath it. In the winter of 1980, that's exactly what happened. The government called it a data error, a simple glitch in the system. But the few who escaped, they knew the truth. They swore something woke up that year, something ancient and hungry, that didn't just destroy the town, it erased it from reality. I learned about Raven's Hollow from my uncle. He was one of the last people to get out before it vanished. He never wanted to talk about it, the memory locking his jaw tight. But when I was a teenager, I wouldn't let it go. I had to know. One night, under a pale moon, he finally broke his silence. And honestly, I wish he hadn't. He told me Raven's Hollow was once a quiet, idyllic place. The kind of town where everyone knew your name. Kids played kick the can until the streetlights came on, and Friday nights meant packed tables at the local diner. It was perfect, too perfect. The change began in October of 1980. Construction crews were digging near the old, abandoned church on the hill, expanding the town's sewer system. That's when they found it. Buried deep in the earth was a massive stone door, its surface covered in strange, unsettling symbols. They thought it was an old crypt, a forgotten piece of history. A local historian was called in, a man who had dedicated his life to the area's past. He took one look at the markings and turned pale. He said they were older than the town, older than the country itself. He pleaded with them, warning them not to open it. But progress, as they say, waits for no one. The mayor, eager to keep his project on schedule, ignored the warning. He ordered the door to be broken open the next morning. And that's when the nightmare truly began. The first man who descended into the darkness never came back up. They sent another worker down to find him. His flashlight beam cut through the gloom, finally landing on the first man, who was just standing there, facing the wall, completely still. As the second man's flashlight flickered, he swore he saw something move in the shadows behind his colleagues, something large, scuttling on too many legs. He scrambled out of that tunnel, his screams echoing through the hills. The project was shut down that very day, but it was already too late. Within a week, the nightmares started. Not just bad dreams, but waking terrors. People all over town began reporting shapes outside their windows at nightfall. Shadowy figures with no faces, just standing and watching. Pets started to vanish without a trace. Radios, instead of playing music, would crackle with faint, disembodied whispers. And then there was the most unnerving part. Every single night at precisely 3:33 a.m., every streetlight in Raven's Hollow would go out. For exactly 1 minute, the town would be plunged into absolute, suffocating darkness. Then, just as suddenly, they'd flicker back on. No one could explain it. Then came the first death. A young woman named Helen Myers was found in her home. The coroner said her body was frozen stiff, as if she'd been left outside in the bitter cold all night. But her windows were locked from the inside, her doors bolted. There were no signs of a break-in, But on her bathroom mirror, written in the condensation from a final, terrified breath, were 2 words: "We are awake." Fear gripped Raven's Hollow like a winter frost. It wasn't just a ghost story anymore. It was real. People started packing their bags, desperate to escape. But the town didn't want to let them go. My uncle told me he tried to drive out one night. He'd take a road leading out of town, drive 4 miles, only to find himself looping right back to the same intersection he started from. He tried turning left, turning right, didn't matter. The roads folded in on themselves, trapping them. The old church on the hill became the epicenter of the strangeness. Its long, silent bells began to toll at random hours of the day and night, their dissonant chimes echoing through the valley, even though no one was there to ring them. A few of the town's bravest, the sheriff, a priest, and a couple of deputies, decided they had to investigate. They went inside the crumbling sanctuary. Only the priest ever came out. His hair, once dark, had turned snow-white overnight. He couldn't speak, his voice stolen by whatever he'd seen. All he could do was sit in a corner, rocking back and forth, frantically drawing the same symbol over and over and over again, the very same symbol that had been carved into that ancient stone door. By late November, the town was in a state of collapse. Power outages became constant. The whispers on the radio grew clearer, sometimes calling people by name. More families disappeared, their homes left empty with dinner still on the table. The townsfolk whispered that the shadows had learned to take human form. They would walk the streets at night, knocking on doors, their voices mimicking those of friends, of family, of loved ones. Anyone who opened the door was never seen again. Then, on December 2nd, the air itself changed. My uncle said it became heavy, thick, like breathing through wet smoke. The sky, even during the day, bled into a sickly, bruised red. A smell like rot and damp earth hung over everything. The few remaining residents, terrified and broken, gathered at the church. It was their last resort, a final, desperate hope for sanctuary. As the clock in the town square struck midnight, the ground began to tremble violently. From the direction of the abandoned construction site, a sound tore through the night, a deep, guttural roar that was not of any animal, nor of any man. It was the sound of something ancient and vast and furious. The earth itself split open. A black, oily mist erupted from the fissure, pouring through the streets like a living flood. It consumed everything. It touched buildings, dissolved. Cars melted into slag. Trees withered to ash. It swallowed the town whole. The great wooden doors of the church slammed shut on their own, trapping the last of the terrified survivors inside. My uncle only escaped because he was near a side exit and threw himself through a stained glass window. As he ran for his life, gasping in the foul air, he dared to look back. He saw the entire town of Raven's Hollow, everything he had ever known, being devoured by a vortex of living shadow. The last thing he heard was laughter. Not one voice, but hundreds, all whispering his name on the wind. Then silence, utter and complete. When he came to, He was lying on the shoulder of a deserted highway, miles away. He looked back. There was no smoke, no fire, no ruins. There was nothing, just an empty field under a cold, starless sky. A cold wind blew from the valley, and it smelled of burnt wood and ozone. The authorities searched for weeks. They found nothing. Not a single brick, not a splinter of wood, not a trace of the roads that once led to Raven's Hollow. It was as if the town and all its people had been a dream. My uncle lived the rest of his life as a ghost, haunted by the memory of that night. He made me promise I would never go looking for that place, never set foot in the valley where Raven's Hollow once stood. But of course, I did. Last year, curiosity finally won. I found the valley. It's just an empty, mist-shrouded field now, silent, lifeless. But as I stood there, listening to the wind sigh through the tall grass, I thought I could hear it. Faint whispers, so quiet I almost missed them. Soft, distant laughter. And then I saw it. Half buried in the dirt at my feet was a cracked piece of stone. Carved into its surface was a symbol I recognized instantly from my uncle's terrified drawings. Without thinking, I reached down and touched it. And I swear, at that moment, a voice whispered right in my ear. It was cold, clear, and full of ancient hunger. And it said one word: awake. Thanks so much for watching this chilling tale. If you love stories that explore the dark and unknown, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Let me know in the comments what you think happened to Raven's Hollow. Stay safe out there.